Guys, welcome back to episode 4 of the League Crawler podcast. Today we have a very, very fun episode. We're going to get into our guests here in just a second. Let's get into some real quick League Crawler news, okay? Matt has been working really hard on the website. If you guys haven't had a chance to check it out, get over there, see what he's been doing. Right now, he just installed a share button. What is a share button? A lot of you guys are going to ask that. A share button is something you can put out, which will directly put a link out for Twitter, Facebook, and right now Reddit. And I know he's working on a link for Discord. That is on the way, but go over, check that out. If you see some articles you'd like to post them up. If you want to create your own articles, write your own articles. You have a share button there. It's getting into the next stage. And what is the next stage? That was something I had for Matt this week. I asked him, Matt, where is the site going from here? And his next step is Call of Duty. He is currently working on a support for the site that will house a whole Call of Duty section for you guys to compete against each other, to find teams, to do all different kinds of stuff. That is on the way. More info is coming with that, hopefully next week. But Call of Duty is for sure coming to League Crawler. Another thing that they've got is, would you like an ad placed on the website? There is a spot right now that if you head over to spacetradr.com, you will be able to put down an ad that would go over to the League Crawler site. Now, a lot of you guys are going to be like, what is Space Tradr? Space Tradr is actually our first sponsor. Space Tradr is a brand new service designed to help like-minded business owners connect to one another. Go to the site, browse for opportunities to cross-promote, trade advertisements, share referrals with others in your community, or post your own ads for others to find. As a community, we can find, connect, grow at spacetradr.com. Link below in the description. The next thing we got is to our host today, which is Shopmaster. I know some of you guys have probably heard of Shopmaster. He is an OG in the Madden community. I think you've been doing this from day one. Is that correct?
Yeah, from day one. I've been doing this from day one, and still going strong.
Now, I'm not going to lie, man. I've heard we were getting you on the show. I did some research this week. I was in and out of your streams a little bit. But I went as far back as to the original Madden show where you were on the bus.
Yeah. Yeah. I was on Madden Nation season 1. That was 2004, I believe, with Vic on the cover. Ton of fun. Didn't turn out the way I wanted it, but great experience. Had a great time. And I went further than I thought, and we can delve into that later. But
yeah, and we will. I've got some questions pretty much for your entire time in the gaming community. Your thoughts on the gaming community, your thoughts on the game in general. We've got a lot of things to do. Before we break into that, though, and what are we? Would you like me to call you Shopmaster? I know your name. I've looked it all up. What would you like us to call you on this?
Call me Shop.
All right, Shop. Before we get into your interview, I do want to go over some quick league news that we've got like around the community. What we try to do is break into what leagues are actually doing and give them a platform. But I want to bring you on that just so you know. If you guys didn't have a chance to check out the Discord, in the Discord link, Nate from OMFL, he put out a stream this week where he was playing his games. He does it live with a cam. He's got a box set up around his stuff. It was very professional looking. It was an awesome stream. If he posts more stuff on there, and I hope he does, go over there and check his stuff out. Sandman is also posting some stuff on YouTube. I know he's in a league called SPA, Pandora, and Legacy. It's 2 different leagues. He's doing some stuff where he records his game. He cuts them down. He has his own things that he speaks about. Really cool stuff. Sofa Kings is another league that they did. If you haven't had a chance to check this out, Shop, they did a new image for their I don't know if it's a magazine cover or something, but they made it look like a comic book. As a big comic book fan, I thought it was dope. If you get a chance to check that out. And Loyalty League is the coolest league in the world at the worst video game of all time. That's their slogan. I thought it was hilarious. Those are some of the league news. Shop, what is your opinion on Madden 21?
Oh, man. Whew. Madden 21 is a mixed bag because I do believe it's better than Madden 20. And I know I get a lot of flack when I say this on my stream, but it is better than Madden 20. I think people forget what we had to deal with. You could literally just run the ball all day in Madden 20 and didn't have to pass and was successful. And in Madden 20, you needed a mobile quarterback. At least in Madden 21, I can throw from the pocket. I don't have to have a mobile quarterback. I feel I see more balance on offense by everybody that I play. The only problem I really have with Madden is I've never, ever closed my game as much as I've had this year. Like just so many disconnections and glitches as far as not being able to proceed or have something come up. I've never had to close my app as many times as I did. And it's funny because there was a time where you couldn't just close the app. You had to cut your whole system off.
Yep.
At least now we can just close one app and then come back in.
The whole cartridge out and blow the cartridge from the bottom in Nintendo 64, man.
Oh man, so I remember putting a penny, in between the cartridge, and we had little cards that we had to put on top of the cartridge to make sure it stayed in a certain spot. So man, people don't understand. Gamers nowadays are very catered to, and they don't even know it. They feel like they're being ignored and feel like nobody listens to them. But there was a time where there was nobody to talk to, and whatever game came out, that was the game that you were playing for a whole year.
I agree with you. See, here's some of the stuff, because I'm in a Madden league, and we try to keep it as sim, and that's really not a word that has a definition, as sim as possible. And from what you're saying, I completely agree with, because statistically, this is the closest we've ever come to a league to replicating realistic stats. So I feel like on the field is probably about as better than any game that we've ever played before. I can't think of another Madden game where I thought the on the field was better than what we're getting currently.
Yeah, I totally agree. Now, let me say something about a sim. And when I first started out, I was a sim guy. But now I don't call myself a sim guy anymore. I call myself a Madden guy. I'm a Madden guy. I'm not a sim guy. I'm not a tournament guy. I'm a competitive Madden guy. And I say that because people really do not want sim. They say they want sim. They say they want simulation football. But there's some fluky stuff that happens in football that would tear, that you would break your controller over if it happened in your game.
Look at Patrick Mahomes' throw the other day in the Super Bowl.
Yes.
If that happened in a game, people would be crying that that's cheese and that's not simulation. That doesn't happen in real life. But I mean, the game is changing.
Fumble snaps over. Didn't Brady have a snap over his head? If remember, look, let me tell you something. If that happened in Madden, people would lose their stuff. People would lose their stuff. So, you want to say, hey, I want the game to be as sim as possible, but I think you have to scale it back. And the other thing is, and I talked about this the other day on one of my streams, is that the NFL doesn't allow a lot of stuff that EA wants to put in. So as for someone who has been behind the curtain and has talked to devs and have seen some of these meetings go on, there's a lot of stuff the NFL is like, nope, we don't want that in our game. And you're like, why? And it just makes no sense. And this is why basketball games have more leeway with the stuff that they can do. It's just something that I think a lot of people don't know about, but it definitely does factor in. And so like stuff like helmets popping off, nope. NFL said nope, we don't want that. Concussions, nope. I remember for franchise, they wanted to put in something that, like, if you were doing bad, the stadium would be half empty, or there would be people in the crowd with bags over their heads, like the Saints, when they were bad. The NFL said, nope, we don't want that to represent our game. We want all the stadiums to be fully packed. We don't want one stadium to have less than another stadium. So when you talk about like things that are not in the game, some of them do have to do with the NFL saying they don't want it.
Right. No, that's a great point. Jumping on that, I know that you were a big advocate at one point for the hashtags that were going out to fix the game. Where do you see that they need to make a lot of adjustments?
Well, I'm a big franchise guy, and I might not play as many franchises on my stream as I used to, but I love franchise. And the things that I think they need to do is more about giving commissioners more control over their leagues. Because when it comes down to it, people usually enjoy franchise mode because they get to play with their friends or they get to play against, 31 other players and try to make it all the way to the Super Bowl, rebuild their team and stuff. And I think it gets lost with how much the commissioners have to do in those leagues. So for me, I think for franchise in particular, I think it's about giving the commissioner more control. And they're starting to do that. Like the cool down and the plays, that's a good start because there are some leagues that say, hey, we don't want you to run the same play over and over again. And so for those leagues, that is a great start. I particularly don't like those leagues. But there's, like my guy Mad Scientist used to say, everybody has a fishbowl. There's a fishbowl for everybody. And so I think giving the commissioners control over their individual franchises is a big step.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with that. I know that cancel culture is a huge thing. And when Madden got released this year, the big thing was franchise wasn't fixed. They want to put all these different things into franchise mode. When you talk to some of the developers, though, you get the sense that they want to be working on franchise mode. They'd love to be in-house, but that's not really where the hate kind of goes. Like the hate legitimately goes to the developers saying, you're not making us a good game. You have a huge platform with a lot of people that respect things you say because of the time that you've spent in this community. What is the best way for them to get on board to see the changes they want to see? Like, who should they be talking to? Where should they be protesting? What should be the goals here?
Oh man, that's a loaded question because the problem is that the people that they should be talking to are really not available to talk to. You know what I'm saying? So it's you're completely right. All the hate goes to the devs. But if you've ever, and I've sat down and talked to these guys individually, they want the better game. They want the better franchise. They want the better mode. They just cannot deliver it. They just cannot deliver it like we want. And I think some of the frustration, especially for me, is that they come up with stuff that the community is not even asking for. It'd be different if we gave them I used to give out lists and wish list and list every year. And I just remember, and I've told this story many times, but I just remember going into Austin, Texas and sitting down with a bunch of other guys and we are getting a look at franchise. And, we've all had the list and we've all sent in our feedback of how we think franchise could be made great. And the first thing they unveiled was confidence. And I literally just almost fell out my seat. And I raised my hand and I said, yo, who in this room had confidence on their list? Who had confidence on their list as something that needed to be in the game, in franchise? Anybody? Nobody. And that is the fundamental issue with franchise mode, is that the things that we want in there are not things that the higher ups feel can sell the game. And I think they're looking at it as they're looking at it totally wrong. Instead of if we build it, they will come. They want if they come, we'll build it. And
right.
That's not how you sell that mode. There's a lot of people that love franchise mode that just refuse to buy Madden. And it's because franchise is not how it used to be. And so they need to build it and people will come and flock to it. But they refuse to do that. But I think it comes down to your initial question was who do we talk to? And it's the higher ups.
Yep.
It's the higher ups. But unfortunately, those guys we can't talk to. And so I told people, at the beginning of the year, and I kind of caught some slack from it. And I'll admit it, I caught some hell from it. But I told people, if franchise is the only mode you play, don't buy this game. Don't buy this game. Now you can get mad at me for giving the game out, and I try to give it to a lot of franchise guys. I usually give out at least 10 to 20 copies a year, and I gave it to a lot of franchise guys because I was like, yo, you should not buy this game if franchise is the only thing you play. If you play MUT, Regs, Superstar, the Yard, then hey, go ahead and buy this game. But if you just play franchise, you're wasting your money.
It's a good point because I don't think they made any changes other than like some cosmetic stuff. So you're speaking wisdom. Knowing the audience that we have and knowing who you are in community, I know the question that everybody's mind is, they know you're a game changer. They know that you have special access to a lot of the stuff that EA is doing. How did you get started in this field altogether? Like how did Shopmaster become Shopmaster?
Oh man. All right. So first of all, let me say there are no more game changers, by the way. They have disbanded that group, so to speak, but I'm still working with them in the Madden Live program, of course. But how did I become a game changer? So it started out, I was a part of this website called MaddenOnline.us. And it was what they called a straight sim website where people wanted to play fairly when Madden 03 came in, and you were able to put that big fat network adapter on the back of your PS2 and able to play people not, in your own house or at your friend's house. You were able to play people, over the internet. But back then there was a lot of glitches, a lot of people quitting. And so this culture came about where, hey, we need to find a place where everybody plays the same way. You play 4 quarters. You don't quit out if you don't do these known glitches, putting wide receivers at tight ends. That was a big glitch when Madden 03 first came out. And so I found myself going there and being a part of that community. And I got, was able to be a mod. And there was a league, and I joined the league. But this was a different kind of league though, because this was a league where it was 3 teams of 10 people. And you played each other, and it was called the agency, the alliance, and the shop. And so I became the leader of the shop, and that's how I got my name, Shopmaster. Well, that website ended, and me being a web developer, I just decided to create my own site as well. So I said, you know what? I'm going to create a discussion board, create a site, and it was called Man Wars. And one day, and it got pretty big. It had like 8,000 people, that registered within like the first 2 weeks. And so I got a call. Now I got an email from somebody saying, hey, EA wants to invite you to Redwood City, California to check out the new game, Madden 04. And I was like, okay, you know what? Somebody's playing a trick on me. No worries. I'm going to ignore it. So I ignored it. A week later, a guy named Will Kinsler, who was a mod at another Madden site, actually got in touch with me and called, and actually found my number and called me and said, hey, they sent you an email to come down. You need to answer. Like, it's a legitimate email. And I was like, for real? So I answered. They flew me to Redwood City, California back then it was just basically for promotion. They just wanted us to see it and then go back and tell our community, hey, we saw the new Madden. This is what it looks like. This is what we got to look forward to, and they sent me a copy. And that's where it all started. And then ever since 2004, they started flying me down, and then it started being more of a feedback session. And we were able to give our feedback before the game was finally finalized. And so, it was called EA Sports Community Leaders Program at first. and then it moved to something else, and then it became Game Changers. So since 2004, I've been heavily involved in giving feedback to EA. And I know what you're saying. Hold on, Shop. You've been giving feedback since 04 and the game is still bad. Hey, a lot of our feedback is taken, but not implemented.
Yeah, that was my next question, is how much do you think that they really care about what the community
I think over the years, it definitely grew. Like, I would say they like right now, I think they really care what the community says. I think they're just having a hard time executing what the community says. I mean, I've given feedback that I've seen directly go into the game. I think one of the ones that I say that, oh yeah, I was the one that thought of it, was when they had the read option. They was implementing the read option into Madden. And the way they implemented it was the defensive end, depending on their ratings, would either go for the quarterback or go for the running back. And I said, well, why can't there be a mechanism that says I always want to go for the running back, or I always want to go for the quarterback? Because I don't want, if Brett Favre is in there doing a read option, for my dude to go to the quarterback when he's not really a threat. And so I forgot who the gameplay designer was at the time, but he was like, yo, that's a great idea. And they implemented it. And so that was my one victory that I really saw in the game. I mean, there was a lot of other things that I had suggested that is in the game, but that was one that I'm most proud of.
That's what's up, man. Thank you for that, because as somebody that's a huge Arizona Cardinal fan, it's nice seeing people react to Kyler Murray and the things that I do in a way that looks realistic. So I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Jumping over to some of the other stuff that I've been checking out in the last few days are these things that you're doing called 12-hour streams. What are 12-hour streams? Because I did not catch all of it, but I'm definitely intrigued with what you're doing for half a day.
Wow. 12-hour streams is something my community has put me up to. Believe me, as an older guy as myself, I'm not looking forward to 12-hour streams. I don't want 12-hour streams, but I make these goals for the community. And I made the mistake. Here's where I made my first mistake. My last 12-hour stream, I said, hey, you know what? If somebody donates me a McLaurin, and actually I had told somebody, this was after the stream, and somebody in Discord was like, Shop, how can we get you a 12-hour stream? And I said, you know what? If somebody donates me a Terry McLaurin, I will go ahead and do a 12-hour stream. Didn't think it would happen, and it happened. And then I set a sub goal. Hey, if I get 200 subs, I'll do a 12-hour stream. Again, I never thought that I would get 200 subs. I got 200 subs. And now I'm on the hook for another 12-hour stream this Monday. So.
Okay, so this Monday, what time does it start?
It's going to start at 10 o'clock. So 10 a.m. to 10 p.m.
All right. And what do fans check out while you do this? I know when I was on it the other day, you were doing a lot of the card stuff, pulling cards, trying to like build different squads. I think at one point you had Kyler Murray on the Redskins. What are some things that they can expect throughout this whole 12 hours, though?
Oh, man. Look, to be honest with you, I don't even plan for these things. These things are fly by the seat, 12-hour streams. But I will say we have a lot of fun. Monday, I do know we're going to be playing some Madden, a lot of Madden. I have some CFM games. I commentate CFM games as well from the league that I run. By the way, shout out to all you commissioners. Shout out to y'all. Like, as big as a CFM guy as I am, this is my first time ever being the main commissioner of a league. And oh my God.
Oh,
the babysitting that you guys have to do is just off the like. Y'all should be getting paid for. I almost shut my league down twice, and we're only in season 2, and I almost shut my league down twice because I'm just like, yo, come on, y'all are grown adults. Like y'all shouldn't be acting like this.
Okay, so
But
now the shoe's kind of on the other foot. This is the first time commissioner doing this. I've actually been running the SPA community, helping run the SPA community for going on about five plus years now.
mm-hmm.
Started as one league. We're now up to 3 leagues. We've got 2 Madden leagues and an NBA 2K league.
Oh, wow.
So what seems to be the issues you're running in as commissioner?
So the issues that I'm running into is first of all, my league, we don't have a lot of rules. I'm a not a lot of rules type of guy, especially gameplay rules. We definitely have like free agent rules and how many people you can sign and drop each week and stuff like that. But I'm not a big gameplay rules guy. And so we just got people just so we have guys that are not playing their games. We got guys who are talking bad about other people and how they play. I just suspended a guy because he actually lost Derrick Henry during the game, and with 1 second left, decided he wanted to quit the game.
Flood.
And he claimed that it was lag, but after looking at his video, because he streamed it, after looking at his video, there was no lag, and you could see him go to the dashboard, and then the video just cut off. So,
yeah, he pulled the plug.
Yeah, so usually that's usually quit. Like if you quit, you get booted. But we said that we really didn't have total proof, but it looks so suspect. It looks so suspect. And the fact that he didn't really fight back after we kind of gave him the rest of the season off.
Yeah.
And we took Derrick Henry down to 0, so Derrick Henry won't be doing nothing either. But see, those are the type of things that I wish EA would allow commissioners to do. Let me suspend a player on somebody's team.
Yeah, I'm all about that. We're speaking the same. So here's the thing. Best advice for when we first started. One, get a team around you for your guys' community that has the same vision that you have for where you want to get to, even if you guys have different routes that you want to get there. It's amazing to have different forms of what people see, because it kind of grows your community in a very organic way, right?
Yeah.
But when you encounter those people for the first year or two that you have your league going, you're going to recognize very quickly who's a fit for what you've got vision-wise and who's just not.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's just best to kind of move on from people that just aren't there. And that's not a negative thing. At first, when I first started kicking people from the league, sometimes those conversations are not the easiest conversations. But at the end of the day, we all have a vision of what we want to enjoy. And when one person is doing something that's butting heads with the rest of us, he's not going to enjoy his time here because everyone's attacking him. We're not going to enjoy the time playing against him. So, I mean, it's not like a hate thing. Like, I don't hate you because I'm booting you. It's just, it's not a fit. And I'd like to help you find somewhere else to go, which is a great way to get them over to League Crawler and be like, hey, you know what? It's not a fit between us, but there's a great site for you to check out, leaguecrawler.com, and they'll help you find a league that fits exactly what you're looking for.
Totally agree.
Yeah, so those are the kind of things. One of the things you did mention was your Discord channel. It was something that I joined the other day. I tried to join on the page. You ended up fixing the link so that we could get in there.
Oh, okay.
What can people kind of expect from your Discord channel?
Just all kinds of talk, sports talk, Madden talk, a lot of Madden talk, of course. But that's where I sort of where I manage my league as well. So for my league, we set up game threads for game channels for each game that week. I find this to be highly effective. Nobody has to go searching for the other person. You know, all they do is post in that channel, and the other person just posting that channel, set up your time. But it also lets us know who's active and who's not. Right. You know, there's no, oh, well, I couldn't find him. No, you should have no. And we try to tell everybody, post in your game thread. Because if you post in your game thread, then the commissioners can come in there and say, okay, this guy is looking to play. The other guy never responded, so we're giving this guy a forced win.
Right.
You know. So
no, it's awesome.
Discord has been a great help as far as managing league announcements. But there's some cool things that we're doing with our league too that I would love to share with you.
Yeah, I'm all about it. What's going on with your guys' league? Because League Crawler right now, for anybody that's listening, we want as much information on your guys' league as we can get. For the passion that I have, I love sitting down with you guys. I love having these kind of interviews. Like I enjoy the information piece out of this that I'm able to grab, but I also love giving people a platform to really talk about their passions, right? And for Madden gamers that are franchise guys, a passion that they have, especially as a commissioner, are the leagues that we're running. So I want to hear all about what you guys have got going on. What is the name of your guys' league?
So it's just called Shop's Ultimate CFM. That's it. Nothing fancy. I mean, I probably do need to go over to League Crawler just to put the league out there. But I got this from another league that I was in, but it's called Off-Season Camps. And Off-Season Camps is really geared to helping you develop your team in the off season. We all know that in Madden, off season is just, there's free agency, there's scouting, but there's really no like off season camps. So we created this thing called off season camps. And it says after each season is over, each team will receive 3 camp points that must be used before the draft. Teams that finish 250 or worse will receive 4 camp points. But you can send up to 3 players to camps to improve them in the off season. So we got stuff like physical camps where we have a strength camp and a speed camp. So if you send a player to a speed camp, they get +1 speed, +1 acceleration, +1 agility, +1 jump. If you send them to QB camp, we got an improviser camp, a field general camp, a scrambler camp, and a strong arm camp. Sending a quarterback to one of those camps gets them upgraded in specific areas depending on which camp they go to. And so we have this for every position. And this has been like an awesome thing. We actually even have like a dev trait upgrade camp. So, but that uses all 3 camp points. So you can send one player to camp to go from normal to star, or star to superstar, or superstar to X Factor.
I'm definitely intrigued. So the things that I enjoy as a gamer when it comes to franchises, all the stuff that leagues kind of do outside of there. For instance, you got that one. What we kind of came up with on our side was we have a silent bid system for everybody that's 80 or above when it comes to the off season. So rather than bidding in game and just continuing to bid back and forth until somebody randomly hits the advance button, we do it so that you can't even see what anybody else is bidding. And then we have an app that takes the top 3 bids, and the app works as the player, and the player picks where he wants to go. So it's not necessarily going to be the top bid, but no one really knows what anyone else is bidding. So you really are bidding what you feel the player is worth, which I think at the end of the day is what's very realistic. So
how do you get the player on that team though?
The guys will win them. So you know how in free agency you have like 3 different stages? So if we start a 24-hour silent bid stage before we hit that first advanced stage, that first advanced stage then becomes like a 48-hour, and they can win in those first 24. So then as we go to the next stage, everybody already knows who's going to take those guys.
Oh, okay.
They're put their winning bid in. So those are some of the things that I like to do. So
that's nice. I like that. I might have to holler at you later about that.
Yeah, let's trade some info after this, because I like the off-season thing. That's pretty awesome. Speaking of, have you put any of these off-season ideas over to EA? Because that would be something that I think most of our leagues would enjoy.
No, I haven't. I mean, that's a great idea. We just started. I think I was a little weary at first about doing it. And, we're still early on. Again, we're only in season. We're about to finish season 2 as we're about to approach the playoffs. But, I was worried that maybe some teams would be, get all these superstars. But it really so far hasn't been like that, because again, you can upgrade. These are not like big upgrades. They're like +2 or +3 in some instances to particular ratings, but it's a lot of +2, And again, like I said, we got QB camps, running back camps, wide receiver camps, offensive line camps, linebacker, defense, for every position, enforcer camps only for safeties. So, it hasn't gotten out of hand yet. So, and if it does, we'll scale it back.
That's very interesting. Jumping back into some of the stuff that you do streaming wise, I know that you do a lot of MUT stuff, and you said that you do some league stuff. What do you find to be the most successful when it comes to your viewers?
To my viewers, I think it's just I don't know, because it's probably MUT, but I would say that I don't get a drop off when I switch to CFM or franchise. I think usually my viewers are just there for the music. They're really not there for me anyway. So I play a lot of old school music, and that's really why I attract a lot of the old head guys. And right. Like I said, they're not there for me or what I'm doing. They're just there to groove out while they're doing something on their computer or something. Like I refuse to think they're there for the content. I have to get the content up, but we just have a good time. I think, I'm very interactive with the chat. I try to talk to everybody that comes into the chat and says something. That's one thing that it took me a while to get to, because I'm so competitive that I can get locked in and not be looking at the chat. And that's one thing that's hard to do, is to be locked in and still interact with the chat as if you're not even doing anything.
Right. No, that's a great, and it also leads us right into our next part of this segment, which is our next sponsor. And are you guys looking for a custom league or a personal logo? Are you wanting to grow your brand with things like banners for your site or intro videos for your YouTube or Twitch channels? You're in luck, because our friends over at Shatter Creations are here to help. Head over to shattercreations.com and tell them League Crawler sent you for 20% off. Link is going to be in the description below, guys. Go ahead and check them out. Shot, one of the things that I enjoyed the most about setting up for this interview was it took me through kind of like I would call like a time travel capsule, because I had seen that you were on the original Madden. I called it the Madden Bus Show.
Yeah.
And
Madden Nation.
Yeah, but I went back today and I decided to watch the first 3 episodes that you were a part of. So I actually had a couple questions getting into this. How much of that time do you remember?
I remember it like it was yesterday. I have a mind like a steel trap. I remember like it was yesterday. Probably because it hurt. It hurt to lose the way I did.
Yeah. What was the best experience that you had on the Madden
Bus?
The
best experience was stuff that wasn't even captured on the Madden Bus.
That's what I
like. There were cameras around us all the time, and so I always thought that, hey, this stuff is all going in there. This is going to be crazy. But they didn't use not nearly half of the film with us, like at the laundromat, us at the ski resort, us just playing around in a hotel. Like, there's a lot of stuff that they didn't use. I would love to find that footage that was never used for the Madden Bus. But just, I think just forming friendships also, because no one knew me. Everybody knew everybody else on that bus. Quick story. It was an Xbox tournament, on the bus. I never played on Xbox. I was always a PlayStation guy. And so all these guys went to underground tournaments and knew each other from going to Madden challenges. And I played in tournaments, but I always played local. So I always went to, like, in DC when they had Madden challenge at, the different stadiums, RFK Stadium and stuff like that. But they didn't know anything about me. And so I think that was actually good in a way, because they couldn't scheme for me. They didn't know if I was even good or not, which I wasn't. I was terrible. I hated Xbox. I didn't even know it was on Xbox. When you get invited, like, I had to fly in a audition tape.
Mm-hmm.
And somehow they chose me. And I just remember when they said, oh, by the way, after I had flown in and everything, signed all the contracts, this will be played on Xbox. I was like, shoot. And so I actually snuck. So they had sequestered us into this hotel. I paid the bellhop because we had to stay in our hotel room. We could not leave. We could not mingle with anybody else that was on the show. And I had to pay the bellhop to stay in my room. I gave him $20 to stay in my room and answer the phone because they called you on your phone. They called you on your room phone like every 30 minutes to make sure that you were there.
Right.
And so I paid him to stay in my hotel room while I snuck out the balcony, climbed down, ran 1.5 miles to Best Buy, bought an Xbox, ran 1 mile back with an Xbox underneath my arm, snuck back in the hotel without being like, there's producers and people that I don't even know that are part of this production team. I'm sneaking back in the hotel because there's no way I can climb the walls again with this box, and get back into my hotel room without nobody seeing me. The bellhop was gone. He took my money and left. I never saw him again.
Oh,
and
man.
So I practiced on the Xbox that whole night. I had to buy Xbox and Madden, which was crazy.
Man. Yeah, hey, but it helped get you prepared, man. You do what you got to do, you know. Who are there still people that you still talk to that were on that bus?
Nobody except for Chow. I talk to Chow every now and then because Chow is part of he works for EA now, and he's part of their competitive gaming division. But everybody else, I don't even know if they play Madden anymore. Like I actually remember seeing Antoine 2 years ago. And I think he still plays Madden. But me and him shared a room together. That guy is crazy. I got some stories I can tell, but they're not safe for really podcasts at this point. But
that's awesome.
Nah, everybody else, I don't even know plays Madden anymore. And nobody is as involved in the Madden community as I am. I know that.
Got you. Now, one of the things that came up on the show that at least caught my attention was as you guys were sitting down for lunch or whatever it was, you were telling the group that you were with that you were thinking about playing as New England, and they convinced you to take Philadelphia. Is that something that was just for the show, or was that something that you regret going with their advice? Should you have taken New England, or?
I should have taken New England. Look, at that point, I didn't have, again, there were rules also, by the way, that people may not have seen, but you couldn't move your players pre-snap. You had to call the play. I don't even think we couldn't make any kind of hot routes or anything either. So that was crazy. But I think I don't, at that point, I don't think it mattered. I don't think it really mattered in that game.
Got you. Okay. Another thing about the show was your interactions with Sean Alexander. Now, Sean Alexander was one of the best running backs for those that don't remember, because I know we have a lot of younger viewers that are going to be like, who the heck is Sean Alexander is one of the best running backs that I ever watched personally play. What was that experience like, being able to meet him, getting the jersey? How was he as a gamer?
Sean Alexander wasn't really that good as a gamer. I totally crushed him when we played, but he was a great guy. We met at the stadium, Seahawks Stadium. He showed me, we actually played in his booth that he has for his family. And then we went to his house and we hung out a little bit and talked. It was great. It was great.
How much does the fumble that he had in that last game that you played, does that, you still think
I'll
about
never
that last
speak
fumble?
to him again. I'll never speak to him again. If I ever see him, here's the crazy thing. Here's the crazy thing. You remember, like, he was the best best running back, and he was on the Seahawks. He was on the cover.
Yeah.
He came to Washington that next year. I fumbled. He came to Washington. I hated him. I hate it. He cost me a lot of money. He cost me $100,000. That's what I would tell him. I would tell him if I ran into him, I would tell him, hey, look, you owe me $100,000. You cost me.
Yeah, because you were driving, man. You just got into the zone. It felt like you were in your bag, and then he just drops the ball.
It was the worst feeling. Like some backdrop on that story. I was so nervous being in that elimination game, because all these top ballers was coming out. Like I just knew I said, watch it be Big Gene or somebody, or one of these guys who have dominated. Maybe it's going to be Problem. It's going to be one of these guys who have dominated Madden over these last couple years. And when I saw it was Packwolf, I don't know if you could see it when you watch the video, but I kind of laughed. I was relieved. I was relieved. You know why? Because nice this guy also was invited by EA to come to those community events in California. Mm-hmm. And every time we played, I dusted him. He would even tell you, if we played 100 games, I would win 99 and probably lose one of them on fluke. That's what he would tell you. He has said that on Twitter. He has said that to me privately. And that was the one time. So when I played him, I don't know if I was just too relaxed, because I was just like, oh man, whew, okay, this is gonna be easy. I'm gonna get back on that bus. And it just and you know what? Maybe it was karma. It just did not go my way.
Madden is gonna
Madden. Sometimes Madden is good to you, sometimes it's not.
Yeah. And that's like the game of football, man. It's any given day for a reason. The last big question I had from that season was, you really had 13 fingers?
Yes, I was born with 13 fingers. I had 7 on one hand and 6 on the other hand. And I tell my mom all the time. In fact, on Twitter, I actually posted a tweet with a picture of my hand where you can see the extra digits on my right hand. And I tell my mother all the time, I could have been the best baseball pitcher of all time. Of all time. Oh. If you would have just let me go through the ridicule of having 7 fingers and go through all the teasing and all the whining and me crying every night, I could have been the best pitcher, bowler, video game player of all time. Just imagine if I had 7 fingers playing video games.
Man, what a treat. All right, Shop, we have gotten into the current, man. We've gotten into the past. Let's get into what's on your plate coming up next. What do the fans of Shopmaster have to look forward to?
Oh man, just more Shop, just more quality streams, just more of me doing a lot of giveaways. That's the one thing that I love doing. I love giving back to this community, because this community, I say all the time, Madden is not just a video game. It's a culture. It's a way of life. And Madden has been good to me over these last, since, I can't believe it, since 2004. I mean, I've been playing Madden before that, but just getting involved in the community since 2004, I just love to give back. And that's why I do everything I can to give back. I have trivia night every Monday night. Come by for trivia night every Monday night, 7:30. I give away cash prizes. Tuesday night, I have community challenge night. Community challenge night. If you are a viewer and a follower, you could come in the chat and I'll play you. And guess what? If I lose, I give $10 to the chat. Like I just love giving back. And the bigger I grow on Twitch, by the way, I just got partnered 3 days ago. I just got partnered on Twitch. And so I just love giving back to the community. So and I want this game to get better. I want this game to get better.
Guys, if you haven't been over to see what he's got going on over there, his Twitch is twitch.tv/ShopmasterTV. If you want to find him on Twitter, I got this at Shopmaster, Instagram Shopmaster73, and YouTube Shopmaster TV. Shop, one of the other things that I saw just the other day was you're playing a different game, DC Online,
Yes.
right? What other games these guys check out that you're really
Right
into
now,
right now?
I'm just trying to branch off and do a number of things. I realize that Madden is my go-to, but I love other games as well. Me and my friend just finished A Way Out, which was a co-op game. We streamed that for like 2 days. It was great. We had a lot of fun. Crazy ending. But right now I'm playing DC Universe Online, and I'm playing with my community, guys in my Discord. I told everybody create a
Nice.
villain, and let's go wreck shop. Let's go rule the world as villains. And so I heard that most of the people in the world are heroes. So I said, hey, we gotta be villains. We gotta be villains and be different. So that's what we're starting up right now. We've only we played 2 days, but we didn't want to get too far because we want everybody to catch up. So I just created a DC Universe Online channel in my Discord, and so hopefully we get more people involved.
Mm-hmm. Now, again, dude, you are a trailblazer for this community, for somebody like myself, for people that are all wanting to eventually do this as some type of job. What would be the best advice you have to anybody that's just starting out on their journey, going through what hopefully is a career in gaming?
You mean as far as streaming?
For anything, what would be the best advice in your opinion for anybody?
Be consistent. Be yourself. Be yourself first. I would say be yourself first. That's the number one thing. If you have a passion for something, be yourself. I remember when I first started streaming and I wanted to be this energetic, and then everybody was raging, and everybody loves watching somebody that rage. And so I wanted to be that guy. I did it for one stream and was exhausted, just totally exhausted. So I said, you know what? I can't do this. I just got to be myself. And if you're yourself, you're not going to be exhausted. You're going to be energized because you're just being yourself. So be yourself in whatever that you want to do. Don't be like everybody else. I understand it's hard, especially when you're streaming and you see all these guys, you see all these views watching somebody that just rages at the game all the time. That's cool. That's cool. Find your niche. That's another thing. Find your niche. My niche is old guys like me. That's my niche. If you're a young guy, you might not like my stream too much because we're going to listen to old school, R&B, hip hop, old school music, and that might not be your thing. You just have to be okay with that. You're not going to be for everybody. The other thing I would say, especially if you're streaming, be consistent. Create a schedule, stick to that schedule as much as you can. It's just like a TV show. I know my favorite TV show comes on at Tuesday at 8 p.m. I go every Tuesday at 8 p.m. to see what that show is, to see my show. That's what your stream should be. Just be consistent. Be consistent, do what you love, and be yourself.
Shop, this was a blast, man. For anybody out there watching, if you have not gone over and checked what this dude's about, get over there, see what he's got going on. It is a ton of fun for any age group. I know he's shouting out just his older group. We got a lot of younger guys. I mean, there is so much wisdom being talked about during some of this stuff. You guys get over there and check it out. Shop, it's been an hour, brother. You have been an incredible guest. Thank you for your time. Is there anything that you would like to leave off with?
Just want to, again, promote my channel. Come out and see me on my stream, twitch.tv/ShopmasterTV. I think the other thing that I like to do is, because I'm an older guy, I have story time. So there's story time with Shop that I do every now and then. And I have great stories of when I almost died, when I almost threw up on Eric Dickerson, when my wife almost killed me. Like, those are some of the clips that you can find on my channel. So come check me out and come through. Let's have some fun.
I got you, man. I'll for sure be there. You got a subscriber in me. Thanks for coming. And if you ever want on again, you are a guest I would love to have at any point. We can get any of the stories.
Hey, we can make it a segment, a short story time with Shop.
Let's do it, man. Whenever you're Guys, thank you for tuning in. I will see all of you next week. Shop.
All right. Thank you, man.
Good luck going forward, big dog.